We're here at Oxford Road Community School, one of the most historic buildings on Oxford Road. In 1870, following the Education Act, the Reading School Board was formed, and 10 years later, Oxford Road Community School was built. It was designed by local architects Morris and Stallwood in a gothic style, using red brick sourced locally.
Well, I lived the first 26 years of my life just off the Oxford Road. Salisbury Road is just down behind us here after the well-known West Reading Bridge, and I attended this wonderful primary school here, which I'm happy to be here actually, 49 years after leaving. I'm happy that people are thinking about the Oxford Road still and actually looking into the history of the Oxford Road and the richness in which it brought to Reading, in that I believe the Oxford Road area was the beginning of diversity in a meaningful way in Reading. And as long as it's documented in these kinds of ways, I believe all of that rich history can be built upon, and the authorities would appreciate Oxford Road for the importance it actually has in the history of Reading. I can remember my first day. It remains quite firmly in my mind, because as a youngster, I was very, very quiet within myself. And I remember my very first day, I spent a lot of time in a room that was just here to your left. And there's one friend of mine at the time. He was a year older than me. He lived in that house opposite the school right over there. And he spent a lot of time with me that day for some reason. And I remember doing a drawing. And I remember it was in yellow and brown. And that sticks in my mind. And years later, we became quite good friends. And in fact, I'm the godfather to his first child, and he's the godfather to my first child as well. When the decimal currency came in 1971, a 50p piece was actually quite interesting to us. And we actually had a scheme whereby we would take some fruits to some elderly people who lived in the area. And I remember going down to Great Knowledge Street, which is down the back here. And we called up a couple. They were an elderly couple of ladies. They were sisters actually. And we presented them with a bowl of fruits. And they were so happy that somebody had actually remembered them. They offered to give us a 50p piece. And of course, we weren't allowed to take it, of course. But we were accompanied by the teacher. And that type of involvement in the local community as school children, I thought it was a great grounding, because one thing it learned me from that early age is that when people get older, they can be lonely. Because what stuck in my mind was that the loneliness of these two elderly ladies. And even years after I actually left primary school, and I would go to George Street Park to play, these elderly ladies, were three of them, and they remembered me. Well, that's one of my fondest memories, because again, playing in the park in 1970-71, we found the old derelict steel drum. And we brought it right through this entrance here and took it into the school. The music room used to be right there, just as we stand here, the music room was there. And that was the beginning of the Oxford Road School Steel Band. Because although we didn't have a teacher behind us, it was quite clear that we wanted to make music in the school. So that was 1971. And when we left in 1972, a school teacher, two school teachers took up the task, and they formed the Oxford Road School Steel Band. And the Oxford Road School Steel Band went on to make 2 or 3 recordings, and they played for Princess Anne in 1973. When the carnival began in Reading in 1977, and the carnival came down this road here, and I remember that was a turning of a new page for Oxford Road, because having been exposed to Caribbean culture through your family and through your parents, teachers and everything, it had actually arrived. And for it to go down Oxford Road was very, very significant.